Have you ever noticed something strange in dating?
The more effort you put into impressing a woman, the less interested she seems to become. You text first. You compliment her. You try to anticipate her every need. And yet she seems distant, disengaged, unmoved. But then something curious happens. The moment you step back, the moment you stop chasing, she starts paying attention. She initiates conversations. She asks questions about your life. She wonders where you are and what you're doing. This isn't a coincidence. It's not luck. It's psychology. Long before dating apps, social media, or the endless advice columns, there was Niccolo Machiavelli, a man who understood human behavior, influence, and power like few others. And while Machiavelli wasn't writing about romance, he was writing about something far more fundamental: power. Attraction, whether we admit it or not, is inseparable from power, perception, and emotional leverage. It isn't about who is louder, funnier, or more charming. It's about who holds their emotional ground, who creates tension without effort, and who commands curiosity naturally. If your goal is to have a woman chase you, not out of insecurity, not temporarily, but consistently, willingly, and irresistibly, then the usual modern dating rules won't work. You must stop playing the game as it's presented. Stop responding to attention with need. Stop equating effort with desire. Instead, you need to understand why desire forms, why it fades, and what triggers it at its deepest, most instinctive level. In this video, you'll discover the principles Machiavelli would teach a man today, principles that go beyond manipulation, beyond pickup tactics, beyond fleeting attraction. You'll learn how to become a man who commands attention effortlessly, inspires curiosity naturally, and evokes pursuit without begging or losing yourself. Because desire isn't something you chase, it's something you embody. And once you understand the psychology behind it, pursuit becomes inevitable. Part 1. Why chasing never works. Most men are taught the same lie. If you show effort, consistency, and emotional availability, she'll appreciate you. That sounds good. It sounds moral. It sounds mature. But attraction doesn't respond to morality. It responds to emotional tension and perceived value. Machiavelli warned that people desire what feels earned, uncertain, and rare. When you chase, you remove uncertainty. You eliminate tension. You communicate availability without condition. And the mind interprets that as low value, no matter how good your intentions are. This is why men who text first, apologize unnecessarily, explain themselves, and constantly reassure often get ignored. Not because they're bad men, but because they've surrendered leverage. Chasing tells her, I am more invested than you. I fear losing you. My emotional center is tied to your response. And Machiavelli would say this is the moment you lose power. Part 2. The Machiavellian Law of Attraction. Machiavelli believed that perception is more important than reality. It doesn't matter how kind you are. It doesn't matter how loyal you are. It doesn't matter how much you're willing to give. What matters is how you are perceived. In attraction, perception answers one question. Does this man add to my life or revolve around it? Women don't chase men who orbit them. They chase men who move forward with or without them. This doesn't mean being cold. It means being anchored. Your purpose, routine, standards, and emotional stability must exist independently of her validation. The moment a woman senses that your life continues smoothly, whether she shows interest or not, something changes. Curiosity appears. Respect increases. Desire begins to grow. Part 3. Scarcity is not absence, it's selectivity. Many men misunderstand scarcity. They think it means disappearing, ignoring messages, or acting fake. That's not Machiavellian. That's insecurity pretending to be strategy. True scarcity is selective presence. It means you are available, but not always. You respond, but not immediately. You engage, but not excessively. Machiavelli understood that people value access to those who do not grant it freely. When your time, attention, and energy are earned, not given automatically, you become intriguing. A woman starts thinking, what is he doing? Why isn't he chasing like other men? Why do I feel like I need to keep his attention? That shift is everything. Part 4. Emotional self-control creates power. Nothing erodes attraction faster than emotional volatility. Not disagreement, not distance, not silence, but instability. Oversharing your feelings too early. Overreacting to small shifts in attention. Explaining yourself when no explanation is required. Seeking reassurance instead of standing firm. These behaviors don't show depth. They signal uncertainty. Machiavelli believed that emotional control is a form of authority. The man who reacts the least often controls the situation, not because he is indifferent, but because he is grounded. This does not mean suppressing emotion. Suppression creates tension and resentment. It means mastering expression. You feel emotion, but you choose how and when to show it. You experience uncertainty, but you don't broadcast anxiety. You notice changes, but you don't chase clarity out of fear. When you remain calm during delayed replies, mixed signals, or periods of uncertainty, you communicate strength without saying a single word, and that strength is noticed. Women instinctively test emotional stability, not consciously, not maliciously. Psychologically, they observe, how does he respond when things aren't clear? Does he stay centered or does he unravel? Can he tolerate uncertainty without losing himself? A man who stays centered under pressure becomes a psychological anchor. He creates safety. He creates calm. He creates trust. And people don't drift away from anchors. They are drawn to them. Anchors are chased. Part 5. Why mystery beats transparency. Modern dating culture praises radical openness. Be vulnerable immediately. Share everything. Communicate constantly. And while honesty matters, Machiavelli understood something deeper. Too much transparency kills intrigue. Desire does not grow in full exposure. It grows in discovery. Mystery is not deception. It is unfinished information. You are not hiding who you are. You are allowing yourself to be revealed over time. When a woman doesn't fully understand you, something subtle happens. She thinks about you more. She imagines possibilities. She mentally revisits conversations. She fills in gaps emotionally. That internal engagement is powerful. Attraction isn't just about what happens when you're together. It's about what happens in her mind when you're not there. This is why men who reveal everything too early unintentionally weaken desire. When you unload your goals, fears, struggles, intentions, and future plans all at once, there is nothing left to explore. No curiosity, no anticipation, no psychological tension. And when there's nothing left to discover, attention fades. Machiavelli would advise controlled revelation. You share truth, but in layers. You open, but at a measured pace. You allow interest to grow naturally instead of overwhelming it. Each interaction should leave a little unanswered, a little unfinished, a reason to come back. Because curiosity does the work that effort never can. Reveal yourself slowly, and let mystery pull her closer. Part 6. The power of non-needy confidence. True confidence is almost invisible. It isn't loud. It doesn't brag. It doesn't compete. And it never seeks approval. Machiavelli warned against appearing dependent. Because dependence, whether emotional or psychological, signals weakness, even when it's unintentional. A man who needs approval gives away leverage. A man who doesn't need it quietly holds power. Non-needy confidence is not arrogance. It's self-containment. It looks like this. You enjoy her company, but you don't require it to feel whole. You appreciate attention, but you don't demand or chase it. You welcome interest, but you don't cling to it. Your presence is relaxed, not urgent. Your interest is clear, not excessive. Your energy is calm, not restless. And this creates emotional polarity. She feels free because she isn't pressured, yet drawn because she senses strength. Comfortable because you're stable, yet intrigued because you're not dependent. That balance is rare. Most men collapse into extremes, either detached and cold, or eager and overinvested. Non-needy confidence lives in the middle. You stand your ground without pushing. You invite without insisting. You remain open without surrendering yourself. And because nothing is being forced, pursuit feels natural, not engineered, not manipulated, just inevitable. Part 7. Unpredictability. Without chaos. Machiavelli placed great value on controlled unpredictability, not chaos, not emotional instability, not inconsistency, but pattern disruption. Human desire thrives on tension, and tension dies in predictability. When your behavior becomes completely predictable, always available, always agreeable, always responsive, the nervous system relaxes. And when the nervous system relaxes, desire fades. There is no anticipation, no curiosity, no emotional engagement. Unpredictability does not mean mood swings or mixed signals. It means your behavior cannot be fully mapped. Sometimes you lead. Sometimes you pull back. Sometimes you surprise. Not emotionally, but behaviorally. Your mood remains stable. Your respect remains consistent. Your values remain clear. But your patterns do not become routine. You don't always text first. You don't always escalate. You don't always explain yourself. This keeps the mind engaged. Because the human mind is wired to pay attention when outcomes are uncertain. When someone cannot fully predict your next move, they think about you more. They anticipate. They invest mentally. Machiavelli understood that engagement comes from measured uncertainty, not confusion. You stay grounded. You stay respectful. You stay calm. But you avoid becoming emotionally obvious. And that balance, stability without predictability, is what keeps desire alive. Part 8. Women chase men with direction. Nothing creates attraction like direction. Not looks. Not words. Not charm. Direction signals certainty, and certainty creates trust, curiosity, and desire. A man without direction unconsciously asks the world, "Where should I go? What should I want? Who should I become?" And that uncertainty is felt immediately. But a man with direction doesn't need to announce anything. He silently states, "This is where I'm headed." And people respond to that energy. Machiavelli understood that people follow certainty, not promises. They gravitate toward those who seem to know where they're going. When your life has momentum, when your career is advancing, your body is disciplined, your purpose is clear, and your days are structured, you become a moving target. And people chase movement. This is why men who focus on building their life often attract women unexpectedly, not because they were trying to be attractive, not because they were playing a role, but because progress is magnetic. A man with direction doesn't ask a woman to give his life meaning. His life already has meaning, and she senses it. She sees a man who is building something, a man who is moving forward, a man who would continue even if no one was watching. And that makes her want to walk beside him, not to lead him, not to rescue him, but to join the journey. That is why women chase men with direction, because direction turns attraction into alignment. Part 9. Detachment is not indifference. One of Machiavelli's most misunderstood ideas is detachment. Most people hear that word and imagine coldness, distance, emotional shutdown. But detachment is not the absence of care. It is the presence of emotional independence. You can care deeply without clinging. You can desire someone without depending on them. You can be connected without being controlled. This distinction changes everything. Machiavelli understood that the moment your emotional stability is tied to another person's behavior, you lose power. Not power over them, power over yourself. And nothing erodes attraction faster than emotional instability. Detachment means this: your mood doesn't rise and fall with her texts. Your confidence doesn't depend on her validation. Your sense of self doesn't collapse if she pulls back. You remain centered. And that centeredness creates something rare: safety and attraction at the same time. Women instinctively look for emotional safety, not boredom, not predictability, but stability. They feel secure knowing, this man won't collapse if I create distance. This man won't pressure me or manipulate me emotionally. This man can handle uncertainty without panic. That emotional steadiness is powerful because it signals maturity. It signals self-respect. It signals leadership. And here's the paradox most men miss. The more emotionally stable you are without her, the safer she feels with you. That safety lowers resistance. It allows curiosity to grow. It invites pursuit naturally. Detachment does not push women away. Neediness does. True detachment says, I choose you, but I don't need you to be whole. And that quiet strength is deeply magnetic. Part 10. Why women stay when they chase. Here's a truth most men are never told. And once you understand it, everything changes. When a woman invests emotionally, when she pursues, when she wonders, she bonds. Attachment does not form from being entertained. It forms from participation. Chasing isn't just movement. It's investment of attention, emotion, and mental energy. And investment creates attachment. Machiavelli understood a principle that applies far beyond politics or power. People value what they must work for. Effort creates meaning. Contribution creates ownership. This is where many men unknowingly sabotage themselves. When you always initiate, always lead emotionally, always reassure, always push the relationship forward, you deny her the chance to invest. She enjoys the attention, but she doesn't anchor emotionally. She receives, but she doesn't attach. She is present, but not committed. Because commitment requires skin in the game. But when you create space, not distance, not coldness, but space, something shifts. She begins to reach out. She wonders where you are. She thinks about you when you're not there. She asks questions. She steps forward emotionally. And in that moment, she becomes part of the process. This is crucial. People protect what they help build. They defend what they invest in. They stay where they feel involved, not entertained. By allowing her to pursue, by resisting the urge to overlead, you transform attraction into attachment, not through pressure, not through manipulation, but through mutual emotional investment. That is why women stay when they chase. Part 11. The ultimate Machiavellian principle. The most powerful attraction strategy has nothing to do with lines, timing, or techniques. It cannot be memorized. It cannot be faked. Because it isn't a tactic. It's a state of being. Machiavelli understood something most people never do. The moment you need someone, you hand them power over you. Need creates imbalance. Imbalance destroys desire. When your happiness depends on her attention, your identity depends on her approval, and your emotional stability depends on her response. You are no longer leading, you are reacting, and reaction is weakness. Machiavelli would warn you plainly. Never give someone power over you by needing them. Not because connection is bad, but because dependence is dangerous. When your sense of self stands alone, when your purpose, direction, and self-respect exist independently of anyone else, you become psychologically sovereign. Sovereignty means this. You choose instead of chase. You invite instead of plead. You engage instead of cling. And that inner authority is felt immediately. Women don't consciously analyze this. They sense it. They feel it in the way you speak without rushing, in the way you listen without trying to impress, in the way you remain calm when attention is uncertain, in the way your life continues moving forward whether they stay or leave. This is why sovereignty is magnetic. Women don't chase men who seek validation, men who need reassurance, men who collapse emotionally when interest fluctuates. They chase men who offer presence without need, men who enjoy connection but don't depend on it, men who desire but are not desperate, men who are grounded in themselves, not anchored to someone else's reaction. This is the highest Machiavellian lesson in attraction. When you stop needing to be chosen, you become the one who is chosen, not through manipulation, not through control, but through mastery of self. Conclusion. If you want a woman to chase you forever, stop asking the weak question, how do I make her want me? That question comes from fear, from need, from putting someone else at the center of your life. Instead, ask the only question that actually changes everything. How do I become a man who doesn't need to be chased yet always is? Because the men who are pursued aren't trying to be impressive. They aren't strategizing every text. They aren't measuring their worth by someone else's attention. They are busy building a life that moves forward with or without approval. They build their future instead of chasing validation. They control their emotions instead of reacting to every signal. They protect their time because they understand its value. They move with direction, not desperation. They reveal themselves slowly, allowing curiosity to grow. And they remain grounded no matter who comes or goes. When you live like this, something powerful happens. Pursuit becomes effortless. Not because you manipulated her emotions, not because you played games or followed tactics, but because you became psychologically sovereign. You stopped needing attention and became someone attention naturally flows toward. That is the Machiavellian truth most men never learn. Master yourself first, and everything else follows. With that said, thanks for watching. And until next time.